Hello and welcome to Simon's Simple English. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to talk about the IELTS Part 1 topic of trees. Trees is a subject that's come up recently, and it's something that many of my students are finding quite difficult to talk about. If they're finding it difficult, maybe you're finding it difficult too. I'm going to give you two IELTS speaking sample answers to questions about trees. We're going to talk about the vocabulary and how I answer the questions. And then at the end, I've got more vocabulary about types of trees for you. So let's get started. IELTS Speaking Part 1, Trees. What kind of trees do people usually plant in your country? Why don't you pause the video here, answer the question yourself, and then see how I've answered it. To be frank, I'm not an expert in botany. I guess the most common species of trees would be fruit trees like apple and orange trees, and also cherry blossom trees, as I see these on a regular basis in people's gardens. Let's look at the vocabulary I've used there. So, remember, if you can't think of a type of tree, you can just put a fruit in front of a tree. So it could be a fruit tree, a cherry tree, an apple tree, an orange tree. Linking phrase and discourse marker. To be frank, that is an idiomatic phrase actually. And it's a good way to introduce an honest idea. So instead of saying to be honest, you could say to be frank. It's a good way to introduce an idea and a good way to show the examiner some less common and idiomatic language to get that band 7 or more vocabulary wise. We got expert. An expert is a noun, and that's someone who knows a lot about a subject. Botany, that's the science of studying plants. Species is a noun, and that's a type of living organism. These may be animals or plants, different types of species. On a regular basis is a phrase, and that means very often. If you do something on a regular basis, it means you do it at least once a week or twice a week or maybe once a month. So, how did you get on? Please don't forget to hit the like button and also subscribe if you want to. I've got a question for you. What type of tree comes from this? This is an acorn. So what type of tree grows from an acorn? Can you write your answer in the comments below, and I'll tell you the answer later. Now, back to the sample answers. Have you ever planted a tree? Why don't you pause the video here, answer the question yourself, and then see how I've answered it. I used to help out my father at work when I was younger. He works as a landscape gardener, and I recall digging a few massive holes for some little trees and saplings to be planted in. However, I haven't got the foggiest idea what variety of trees they were. Let's look at the vocabulary I've used there. To help out, that's a phrasal verb. That means to assist. Remember, to get band 7 or more, we need to use some less common and idiomatic language. Easy way to do that would be to use phrasal verbs. They're much easier to use than idioms. Landscape gardener, that's a noun, that's a job, and that's someone who makes gardens for people. Recall, to recall is a verb, and that's another word for remember. Massive is an adjective, and that means very big. Sapling, now that's a noun, that's probably something you've never heard of before, but a young tree is called a sapling. So I haven't got the foggiest idea. That's an idiom, and it means I don't know. It's a great idiom to learn because if the examiner asks you a difficult question and you don't know the answer, at least you can show off some vocabulary before making a guess. And a variety is a type of something. So let's look at some vocabulary about trees. So we got deciduous, which is an adjective, and these are trees and shrubs that shed their leaves annually. So in the winter, they lose their leaves. The leaves drop off. And then evergreen, that's another adjective, and these are plants and trees that keep their leaves. So they're green all year round. And here are some types of trees. So we've got oak, which is a big and strong type of tree, takes a long time to grow. Elm, pine, Christmas tree. This is actually a type of pine tree. And a Christmas tree is what we have at Christmas. Teak. This is quite a rare tree that lives in tropical regions. And when you see the wooden decks of a big yacht or something like that, it's usually made from teak. Fruit tree, as I said before, we could just say a fruit tree or an apple tree or an orange tree. Norwegian monkey puzzle. That's a very weird looking tree. Look it up. And then a forest is somewhere where there's many, many trees. Do you remember what I asked you before? I said, what tree grows from an acorn like this? Did you put your answer in the comments below? Well, the answer is an oak tree. From a tiny little acorn grows an oak tree. I do have another video about trees, which I'll put a link to up here very soon. Also, if you would like to practice with me or another teacher, you can do on italki. And if you use the link in the description below, then you're going to get $10 for free once you sign up. Thanks very much for joining me. It's great to see you. Keep practicing your IELTS speaking and you'll get better and better. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.